And I'm live.
I'm live.
We're both
You're live.
It's
The
live.
Kill Team Casuals are live. Wow. It's guys, if you're just joining us, which you should be because it's the start of the episode, Russ is pushing the buttons. And as we know, usually I push the buttons and things go wrong. We've added a whole new X factor into the game. We've thrown Russ in the deep end, said, Russ, push some buttons.
I'm out here. Controlling the decks. We are now streaming in YouTube land and on Twitch Street.
Jeez,
so
look at us go. I must quickly shout out in the chat, Cheesy Chimps, Cheese Chasers on the t-shirt. Love the name. Welcome. We've got Sturm AU. Welcome. We've got Odes. We've got Lap. Welcome to everyone who's in the chat. I missed you guys. I had a week off and it was lonely out there without the Kill Team Casuals. But you guys flew the flag. The legendary man known as Russ from GFN Gaming. Welcome, sir.
Thanking you, sir, and throwing it back out there to Reese, the most handsome man in Kill Team from Threes to Wound, buddy. How's it going? It's been a few weeks since we've had an episode.
It feels like we were on a hot streak for a while there. Like we couldn't be stopped. We couldn't miss an episode if we tried. We were broadcasting in our sleep. And then all of a sudden, like the new year started and life was like one week after the other, we're all like, it's my turn, guys. I can't do this one. We're like, hey, it's easy. We'll just reschedule. And then we do the hilarious thing where we all try to find that extra day. And then we go, wait, the next show's is tomorrow. So whoops.
And then everyone got ill. We got that New Year's ill. So we got passed around. So I had it. Ben's family had it. You've got it, and then it's just knocking us all down.
I love that we somehow managed to transmit said sickness amongst the casuals across the world.
Well, I sneezed
three different continents
in 2 envelopes and posted them both to you and Ben direct just to make sure you were ill, because that's the kind of guy I am. Sharing is caring. You know what I mean?
Well, look, amongst all the chaos of just life and getting everything done, have you had much time for hobby stuff? Have you had anything new and exciting hitting the hobby desk at all?
Yeah, so I'm still, I've got many ideas of plugging through, but I'm still very keen on giving my Orc Vespids a real run. There was a tournament this weekend, a golden ticket tournament. A shout out to Nick Collins. The genius mind behind Crossfire Games, the Etsy store, who does some amazing thingies. I'm not going to plug him here, but great stuff. But he came first.
He's going to pay extra to get Kill Team Casuals sponsorship. That's extra.
Get in touch. But yeah, no, he was doing really well. I think he was running Wreckers, but I think he's flipped over to Cults now, I believe. And he took the tournament, and he's been taking many a tournament these days. He's currently UK #1. And he's gunning for there's a golden ticket if you win the most amount of UK TC events. So I think he's on track for that. But yeah, so I'm still determined to take my Vespids out to the tournament show in my Orc Vespids. So I've been making a little display base, getting ready. So I've been painting them, and I've been making a little magnetized lid. So it's got my cards in there. The team will go in there as transport, and then obviously they will go on top. Yeah.
That's pretty. That's it. Look at you. That's crafty and handy and convenient. Look at that.
A little bit of both. I've had this weird bit of terrain, this like broken up Land Raider forever, and I was like,
Is that what it's for? I was wondering what it was.
I'm never going to use it, and I thought the only thing I could use it for was like terrain, and I got it before the new edition launched, and obviously the terrain was very specific, so I was just sort of like, I can't really use it for anything specifically now, and so it's been languished in a pile, but now it's ready to go. So that is what that's my plan, is to paint that up along with the team, which is about 90% done, and then I'll be in a good position to throw it at some painting competitions and hopefully do middlingly well with Vespids, because let's be fair, they're not great. So
it's interesting. They're still copping a lot of flack. I think I've been on since we saw it, but it was like the command point had him in the basement, like not even like in the worst tier by themselves. No other team in the same postcode.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
So I mean, arguably, it's pretty fair.
And yes, you can start podcast beef right here. You can start fighting them if you want. Go for it.
Shane, no. To be fair, I've played them a lot, and it's a team that's so unreliable. I can understand why they can't be rated, because if you're playing and rolling well, I guess it's a team that needs critical hits, and it's only just got a buff to turn that into 5s and 6s. But you really do need to roll 5s and 6s, which statistically on a D6 isn't likely. They've got better in that you can you've got more communion points, and I've ended games now with like 8 communion points, so you now don't need to pick between long range shooting and doing certain mission actions, so you can kind of do it all. I still would kind of like the ability to be like, okay, you can spend 2 communion points when you activate a Vespid to make them 3 APL, and you can do that once a turn. Something like that would be magnifique, you know what I mean? That's what I'd love, but so far we don't have that. But I don't know, I think their sheer unreliability means that they're hard to get out of that basement, because if you roll hot, you'll probably table your opponent because of the way that their shooting is. It's P1, it's 2 mortal wounds across the board. Like, they're pretty good if you roll 4 6s.
Their ability to put out hurt, especially in the elites, is pretty good.
Yeah, but like the problem is, if you roll averagely or at least a little bit badly, you're kind of scuppered. You've really got to, because like I've had examples where I've rolled 13 dice into one model at P1 and done no damage, and you're just sort of like that is the swing. The swing is you could do a lot of damage or you could do no damage, and you're a 5-up save, and then the only reliable damage you can do is in combat, which is arguably okay if you charge because you're ceaseless and you can get shock lethal 5, but again you're kind of reliant on getting that crit, and everything, all their strats are like gained, like they've got 2 firefight ploys to make their crits hit better, and they don't need that. They need to be able to turn hits into crits. They need severe. Basically, if you get rid of both of those strats and say, okay, your shooting has severe, your combat has severe, they'd be so much better. But they're not. So that is kind of the trick.
We've had a request from the chat. Karakan has asked for us to do a Vespid tips and tricks guide like we did for the Blooded, etc. So
I'm ready.
Maybe an upcoming week we can dive in and do that, because I think that would be a bit of fun. Like, it is amazing. There's so many. We're lucky at the moment because there are so many teams, and you can kind of deep dive and search so many. But there's really not that many guides for most teams. Most probably have 2 or 3 available on a lot of, I guess, the main channels we know. But of course, even with so few main YouTube channels like that too, like they also can only cover so many. You can also only produce so many videos. So maybe it would be fun to do maybe some of those neglected teams. Obviously, these guys would be good because you've got the actual knowledge. You've played them a lot. But it'd be fun to do some less loved teams.
100%. I mean, Vespids as the least loved team ever. I've had good games. I've oddly got a good record with them. I think I've won. I've played 2 tournaments with them. Let's be fair. I've not done a lot. I won 1 tournament, and I went like.
Still very good.
I mean, it's great. It's great. It wasn't a great tournament, and then I went 6-2, into Warhammer World, and that was a decent tournament. And I lost to the winner, and I lost to Warp Coven, and Warp Coven was pre-nerf, and they were just impossible. That was a game where I was just like, this is futile. But I really enjoy Vespids, and I think they're great. And the thing is, things you can do, and they've got funky moves. But currently, you are kind of locked into how you play them. Even after the buff, I think you are locked in. But we'll save this conversation for a Vespids specific guide.
Yes,
Reese,
because have you got? I was just quickly say, have you got your orcs that you are doing? Have you got them on your Instagram? Is that where can they see some of your free work?
I've got some up there? I think if you go to, I think it's just GFN Gaming on Instagram. I don't know. I'm not great with it. I have posted some pictures. I've been making my favorite, which are the Storm Boys. So I've got my my Storm Boy Vespids.
Oh, so good.
This is my Sky Blast. But yeah, I've been doing a bunch of orcs because I love orcs. So I thought might as well just bring it. I've got this idea for this fun little narrative idea for the channel for GFN. I'm going to do it's going to be a civil war between orcs, but it's going to be called Civil War.
Civil War. I like it. Yes,
it's just basically going to be orc on orc, but loads of different proxied teams, and there's going to be some fun narrative going around. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I need to paint up some of these teams, but more orcs the better. But speaking of obviously painting, kit bashing, what have you got going on in your painting? Have you been finding much time for hobby?
It's been a bit harder recently. I must say for sure it's been a little bit harder, but because I've got a little project that I'm working on 40K at the moment, so it's dominating the space a little bit. But I have just started to put together my ratlings, because I'm just like, I feel like, I might be wrong, but they might be a little bit of an easy win because at least they're so small.
It's valid.
So, it's a lot less paint, so I might be able to work through them pretty quickly. But I love the models. There's so much character in them, so I'm really looking forward to cracking into those. So I reckon we'll see. That's the next one on the list, but I've got to get this other project done first. Unfortunately, it's taken up a whole chunk of time. When you completely underestimate a project, when you just go
many times.
Oh yeah, if I just do this and I'll just smash it, and I'll just be real committed to it. And overestimated time, underestimated skill. Wait, or the other way around. Overestimated skill, underestimated time.
Yeah. So for your ratlings, how many ogres have you built, or how many ogrins have you built?
Well, see, I'm lucky because I've got my guard army. I've got a full set of Bulgrin with the big shields and the mauls. I've got 3 regular Ripper gun guys, and I've got I think 3 with the smaller shields as well.
Oh, nice. So, well, there you go. And you got them all done. Boom.
So I've got the lucky. That's why it's an even better project, because it's just the rattling. I don't have to worry about the big boys who take up.
That's a pretty decent one. Have you had many games with them, or have you just literally not built, not painted?
It's just the idea. Well, because our little group that had been playing our games, where we had a bit of a hiatus. One of the guys in the group had a barb and Christmas and all that, so we've finally been getting back into our games. So I've got 2 more games in this season with who we're running at the moment. So I'm running Felgor, so get to enjoy an S tier team for 2 more games.
Beautiful.
And then it's on to the Kroot, is I believe who I'm looking at being signed up for, which is funny because again they seem to be coming into their own at the moment.
I was gonna say not so bad now, I guess, but still, I think it's going to be a learning curve. Although they're not quite as squishy as some of the elf teams.
Yes,
more wounds, but like better cover save because they can take cover saves. But I think it's still only a 5 up. But interesting, and you can't heal still.
They can heal, and they seem to be hitting that point now with like the way they can change their weapon types and things like their ammo types and all that they're starting to hit some better breakpoints and that. So be interesting. I can't speak from any confidence with it, but I think that would be another team that would be fun to have a bit of a guide on, or a bit of us read through and revisit them and go, because there's not actually that much out there on them. There's really not. There are a few people now. I think Shane has maybe just jumped on someone's pod and talked Kroot, but that might have been Once Upon a Kill team, so it might have been a bit more narrative focused.
Well, there's there's a guy who's been running them quite well. Mean Ben.
Mean Ben, yes.
ran him at Warhammer World and did real well with him. Like back before they got buffed. Won all 4 games on thing he won. So maybe we can see if he's willing to come on and be mean on camera. And tell us about the Kroot. Yeah.
Live up to his name. It's actually funny. Someone mentioned us in the chat. Who was it? Sorry, I totally missed who it was. But they were just sort of mentioning about where has it gone? You think it was right there. But they were just talking about the command points, tier list and where they rank. Isn't it funny that nearly you can just do your own tier list off but someone else's tier list? that you can just like respond. We don't even have to do our own tier list. We can let command point do all the heavy lifting, then we can be like,
just
we agree
respond to theirs. Yeah, just respond to their levels. Quasimodo too. Yeah, 100% agree. Wrecker Crew is low B, high C on open board, and Into the Dark is D tier. I do agree. I've played them. I played against them Into the Dark, and the fact that those doors just mean that then they're like, if you position well and hide behind a door, they can't really do much. They can basically move to the door and open the door, but they can't open the door. And if you're outside, like if you can get in a position where they can only got melee, they open the door and all they can do is charge you. They're still 2 APL. They've got nothing to boost themselves apart from shooting or fighting. And if you put yourself in a position, I've found it Into the Dark's pretty rough for wreckers, which is why I think people, if they're taking them to tournaments, it'd be interesting to speak to Nick about it. Collins, who was using them, and then I think he decided they were just not consistent
too
enough.
Hard.
Because maybe if you're Into the Dark, you do run into problems where you're just like, I'm going to have to go forward early, open all the doors so I'm able to charge through and fight, become 3 APL, but you leave yourself open to then, if you don't get that turn initiative, you've opened all the doors to be able to go forward, or do you stay behind the doors and then not do anything turn 2? It's sort of like, oof, interesting.
Yeah, it's because it's funny too, because you go, but every team, not every, but so many teams are 2 APL, but it's like, but their mechanic that lets them buff to be a 3 APL to everything is so dependent on being able to interact with the enemy that a smart opponent can be like, I'm just not going to play that game.
I'll just go outside of your charge range and then you can move. But it's, well, you know what it's like, Reese? It's like having a team that's piercing as your entire rule and then giving certain armies an ability to ignore piercing. That's what it's like.
Weird, right?
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
What it's like.
Crazy.
Yeah. Actually, to be fair, that's I do like that got changed now. You still get piercing crits, because that was just offensive, where it was just like, it's gone. Piercing is gone.
Yes. It's overrated.
Yeah,
so I think, I'm looking forward to doing a bit more hobby. I think the thing that's got me very excited for hobby, though, and this is a very smooth segue if I do say so myself, Blood and Zeal. We finally have a Warcom article about it, because I definitely, for one, I think it was literally the last step that I was on. I was just sort of saying, I'm like, it was starting to feel weird. It was starting to feel like, why have we heard nothing for such a long time? It felt like Brutal and Cunning had come out quite a while ago, and we hadn't heard absolutely, like, normally there was a sneak peek or some teasers or something, and this went from nothing to not even a sneak peek. It was like, oh no, here's the thing.
Yeah, it has kind of, I quite like that it's almost come out of nowhere, really. It feels, it's the most reminiscent of the cults.
The Inquisition box?
Yeah, I can't remember the name. I was trying to remember the name of it instantly. I forgot it. But the Inquisition and Chaos Cults box, because I feel like that came so quickly after the Votann team dropped, the first Votann team dropped. All of a sudden, this new box came out with almost zero fanfare. And even more so, the two teams it feels almost like a narrative box. Like the two teams are very,
I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Narratively themed. And again, the teams look quite similar. When you're looking at the model base, you've got a human team that's obviously like a big team. Obviously, last time that was Chaos Cults. Now it's basically reverse Chaos Cults. It's the good cult.
The good cults. The best kind of cults.
The bestest cults. These are the good guys. You can tell because they've got chainsaws and flamers. So yeah, like the good cults. And then the reverse team of that box was the Inquisition. So you got the Inquisition and the Chaos Cults, and then this team obviously is slightly different. From the look of it, it looks like an incredibly melee focused teams. I've not really read much about them at all, but they
purely based on the pictures.
I was going to say based on the pictures,
very
they look
close. Yeah,
I haven't seen a single pistol. It looks like all melee. I'm sure that there's got to be pistols in there, and there's going to be grenades, but yeah, it looks like a big old melee punching team and kicking team. Looks like a kicking team.
There's some robot legs going on.
Yeah.
One thing I want to highlight, and maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing first, but this was, I'm actually very excited about the terrain piece.
Oh,
Like, no, the
the
statue.
statue
It's
looks
got
very
the
cool.
huge Sister of Battle statue, the saint. Looks like Saint Celestin.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm like, that's actually kind of cool because so often the terrain can be a bit generic or a bit like,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. Like it's a very cool centerpiece for terrain in general. Like I reckon it looks so good on like all battlefields in the future. I'll be finding an excuse to put it on the board. It's great.
So I saw something on Instagram that made me instantly get disappointed by this terrain. And I'll tell you why, because it's great looking terrain, but someone had got one of those Joy Tech miniatures. Like
Yes.
someone had got a full scale sister and posed her like she was running upstairs with a gun, bronzed her up, and then put like scaffolding around her. So it was like it was a statue that was basically that big, and it looked immense, and it was like they'd blown parts off it, and I was just like, but it was fully interactive. Like you could walk on that. I think it was for Necromunda classically, because Necromunda gets all the good terrain, even though this is obviously personally homemade. But I saw that, I was like, man alive, that's pretty badass. Like that would be cool. It made me want to get some of that Joy. I don't know what it is, Joy Tech, if that's the thing. Like the big ones, and just like spend ages making it look like a big old statue would be class.
I was about to say it might be expensive, but I'm like, wait, terrain's always expensive as it is, so I can't really.
I was going to say it's probably similar. It's probably similar. But yeah, it does look very cool. It looks very cool. It's going to look great in Chalnath, isn't it? Because it's like it's that set. I think it's from the same set or something like that. It looks very similar.
And it's also cool. I like they were saying in the article as well that they're going to do like an in-depth hobby guide teaching you how to desecrate it as well.
Oh, really?
So do like a desecrated version, like it's been taken over by the Cornate worshippers that come in the box set as well. It's like, that could be pretty cool. So like, it's up there with, there's the assassin model, the collector's one,
behind the sister's head thing.
That when they do that kind of stuff with terrain and all that, that's when I'm like, I'm on board. Like, it's I know the buildings need to be like functional, and that's why you get a lot of square buildings. But I love it when they just put a little bit extra something in there to make it like feel a little bit more thematic and cool. I'm like, I like it.
You know what? Oddly, I'd actually quite like non-ruined buildings.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like
clean tower buildings.
No, just like a clean building with a little bit of destruction, to be like, not every town is completely leveled. Like sometimes we're fighting, and you know what? Someone didn't shoot this place down yet, and you got like the side of a building, and it's like it's still there. Man, still good. It's still good. Some of these buildings were actually made to last. It seems like every other building is just like you get a tap and it crumbles down into a neat little corner piece, and it's like,
how do you get anything done in these places?
Yeah, like like you're not going to be able to hide under the stairs in that place. It's like it all comes down. I want some more buildings that survive a little bit. Obviously, they're quite difficult to make, but yeah, the new teams, the new reveals, very cool.
Which team would you like to start with? Do you have a personal favorite of the two, or who would you like to chat about first?
I want to. Well, I feel like, do we save the best to last and get the gore guys out the way? Was it the goremongers?
The gore guys. The goremongers is correct.
The goremongers, the jackals, basically. They look like. Basically. See, this is why I'm not. They're very cool. Let's just start off by saying they're very cool. But having just kit bashed, not just, but like I spent a long time with the jackal kit bashing an entire blooded team. They don't look different enough for me to get super excited about. Although the legs, they do look like chaos, like bloodletter legs, like the kind of the backwards like thingy. They look like robot bloodletter legs. So part of me is thinking maybe it'd be a fun exercise in trying to kit bash bloodletters to make bloodletters look more distinctive, because obviously they're all just one form, and it'd be quite cool to be like, these are bloodletters that have a little bit of character. That might be quite fun.
Spunk.
Yeah, they're not just your standard like demons. They've been around the block a couple of times, and I know what you're thinking, Reese. Yeah. Demons are immortal, so they have. But maybe these ones have been corporeal or in the materium for longer.
Stuck in the materium.
Yeah, stuck in there.
they can't like go back and respawn. So they've got robot chicken legs.
Yeah, maybe they got something like that. Like I don't know what it would be, but there's something anyway. I thought that might be interesting. But yeah, I know next to nothing about this team apart from they look incredibly. Have you got the pictures there? They look incredibly.
I've got the pictures up
heavy.
here. Yes, I mean, look, obviously, pretty much all your specialists. I think you're probably not looking at much beyond pistol range. If you're wondering, you've got the Blood Herald, which is the leader operative, which is obviously, I think, the strongest of model of the bunch.
It looks cool.
It's very cool. So it can't be. I don't think you'd be too upset if you like Khorne, if you like close combat. This army is going to be.
I think it's going to be fun.
It still be very exciting. I think a lot of people are excited. Because it does appear, though, and I'm guessing we're correct in what we're saying, that it looks like it will be the Jackal sprue with like an upgrade that you're adding to it. Well, I reckon.
Oh, it can't be. All those legs.
Are all the legs not? Are they different bodies? Are they?
The legs
individual?
look. You know, I've not looked at the models enough, but the legs are so different. Do you think they would have is it an 8-man team? Is that what it looks like? Eight bodies?
Yeah, I just the only reason I'm saying this is because I find it surprising that they would. But then, you're probably right actually, because even looking at like the standard guy, like the bases are quite detailed. So maybe I am wrong, but it looks like it just looks like the Jackal kit.
Internally says he looked at the Jackal sprue yesterday. 1,000% not an upgrade sprue.
Oh, so thank you, Norley, and that's why we love our chat, because you guys got your finger firmly up the pulse, and we really appreciate that.
So I think I agree. I think if it was a kit,
that makes me like it a little bit more.
Yeah,
that makes me like it a little bit more because I guess, but maybe it's just some of the parts, say mold parts, and they've just reworked. I was
going to say the problem with the kit is that the Jackal kit is quite distinct in that they've got the same faces. And then bringing out a kit that's very similar to the Jackals, just with robot legs, they do look a lot like the Jackals. So if you don't have the Jackal kit, I think this team's probably looking a lot more exciting to you, because I loved the Jackals kit. It was loads of fun.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
But having built about 15 of them, they're quite fiddly. I'm less keen now.
Yeah. Well, I was like you. My blooded team was a combination of Guard and Jackal parts that I kit bashed, and I think I'm the same. I think that's taken a little bit of the shine off it, which is unfair on the model. It's not the model's fault. It's just we've already built the kit,
we went through the same journey.
Yeah. So when I look at them, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I've kind of done that. Like I'm a little bit less excited.
Yeah.
But some cool, interesting models. Obviously, there's the Blood Herald, the leader we talked about, the Impaler, who's got looks like he killed a Reaver and took his little grapnel launcher gun.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's going to have some, probably similar to the Reavers, maybe like some, I guess the ability to climb terrain cheaper, but does he get bonus attacks when he drops, or there's the Reaver in the Phobos that does that.
There's the scout team. If he goes up, he gets lethals.
Oh, sorry, Scout. Sorry, it's not Phobos. Scout. Sorry, Scout.
I was going to say I've not seen anything for this team, but the fact that they've all got robot legs makes me think there's going to be at the very least some sort of way to make them. I don't know. There's got to be a way that they're either kind of like bound. They're either able to get across terrain easier, or. I like what Noli says. You can probably grapple hook people. Imagine that instead of you move towards them, you just shoot someone and bring them 6 inches towards you. Yeah, Scorpion style. That would be pretty cool.
That's what isn't that the thing that the the World Eaters have, isn't it? Or the Ursus claws?
Oh yeah, on the Titans. Oh no, the ships. The ships as well.
Ships even and they rip them in, and
there's nothing more World Eaters than firing a harpoon and then pulling the target towards you.
Yeah,
that would be cool. That'd be like the reverse. The Wrecker crew with the guy that smashes you away. It'd be the different dude. The guy just hooks you, does mortal wounds, and pulls you into combat.
Brings you in. They've got lots of close combat operatives as being expected. Skull Claimer, a big axe. Looks like he borrowed the Butcher's axe. You've got the Stalker. You've got an Inciter who's got some dual pistol action. A Blood Taker who looks like it's maybe like a grenade vial or something that he's had to hoof. and then you get 2 aspirants. So they're just, I guess, your
standard warriors
working their way up standard warriors. So I think it's the one thing. Speaking of the blooded, I do see a lot of when I look at the models and what they're carrying in their war gear. I do see a little bit of like nearly taking the blooded and then redistributing the ogre's wounds across lots of models.
Yeah.
You know, like the Stalker looks very much like the Wretch kind of character, you know, and you've got the Skull Claimer, who could be our Butcher type character. You've got the Pistol guy. Well, I mean, there was lots of different sort of gunner option sort of thing. There wasn't actually a Pistol guy in the Blooded, no.
Just the leader.
Blood Taker, Grenadier, yeah, leader, yep. So we probably might see this, and I think I get a little bit of that same vibe when I look at the Ecclesiarchy team as well, the Sanctifiers, that it's nearly like we know some teams are going to Legends, aka the Blooded, but then also in Novitiates, and then we get a new... So I don't mind this because it's like facelift, it's new models, it's new kits. But yeah, I think there'll definitely be some... Yeah, there you go. Gin of the Sheep saying every team is a replacement for a KT21 Seasons 1 kill team.
Yeah, I think so.
There's a little bit of that feel, which isn't a bad thing, because I think the cool thing is that they're learning as well. Like, this team came out and these things worked really well in this type team. So if we brought out a new version of it, hopefully they've learnt lessons, tweaked and tightened the mechanics, and so the team comes out and plays better. It's learned from the sins of the past, if you will.
If it immediately fits into the meta easily without rocking the boat too hard, that'd be good.
Yes, yes.
Can't wait for the new Catholicism team, says Norley.
Well, speaking of Catholicism, we do also have the Sanctifiers. As we said, I think these are some of the cool. Like this makes me very glad. It feels like they've stolen a few of the AOS model makers and model designers. And I think someone actually did mention it in the chat as well. Who was it? I think it might have been some of the cool Norley. But yeah, there was a rumor, and I'm not sure where it was, but basically that the Sanctifier is like a rework of models from like 3rd edition or something like that, like old metal sculpts. And that they took, sorry whoever it was in the chat if I missed it. But yeah, that they've kind of taken that old, Blanche style, and trying to bring back the grimdark a bit with these models and bring reminiscent of those old same thing, still the Inquisitorial Henchmen's and war bands and Ecclesiarchy models we haven't really seen before. So
yeah, it's cool. I mean, both but like you say, it feels a lot like the Inquisitorial Agents team as well, in that they had the Death World dude with the spear and the knife that was a callback to the Inquisition team, and this feels like there's a whole bunch of metal minis. Again, the Drill Abbot is a 54 Inquisitorial agent.
There you go.
Yeah, it's really I really quite like it as well.
Metal Imperial preachers,
So I kind of like that,
which I think is a great thing. I love seeing old models reimagined, because there's usually was a great reason why we loved those models, wanted to add them on the table. Like the nostalgia factor is really cool. So, and the Cherub's based on Ben. Yes,
obviously.
Thank you, Lap. That's very true.
Someone needs to do it now.
Yeah, exactly. Get the
Full-on
Photoshop.
beard,
fire the
long
Photoshop
hair.
machine. There is baby Cherub Ben. That's going to give me nightmares. But these guys are a little bit different. These seem to be a much more squishier team. I think they end up with 11 operatives.
Yeah.
From what we can tell, if you're taking everyone that's in the Pikachos, and one of those being baby Cherub Ben.
Yeah, you got to assume that's not going to be many wounds. That's going to be very few wounds and just some sort of support character. Like I quite like. It seems to be maybe just because I play teams that have them, but they have like the support drone character, like the bomb squigs. You've got the drone for the Vespids. These little mini models that don't really do much, but just provide support.
Yeah.
But generally, you can assume they're not going to be that easy to target, and they're going to spend most of the game in conceal, just helping. Is the kind of idea. Unless it would be amazing if he was like a melee beat stick for some reason, like some sort of glass cannon, and just goes up and 8 damage.
giant taser goat. I'm like, I'm seeing that being like lethal 3+, one shot, lethal 3+. Like it just gets, absolutely hits you. If it gets a hit off, it's going to wreck face, but it's got to get there first.
I had my legionary leader killed once by a reanimator, which the irony was not lost on me. He had one wound left. John Solly. He knows what he did.
That's up there with like the glitchlings and stuff. When there's no, at least with that the Galapox, there's 900 of them, but then there's only one little guy that gets in there and just goes.
One of those little worms, one of those little blood fleas comes along like.
Looking at the team though, they seem to be super close combat or short range involved too.
Both of the teams, don't they? Yeah,
both teams.
They're going to meet in the middle.
Because I can't see a weapon shooting a gun on the Confessor. We obviously just talked about the Taser Cherub.
Yeah.
There's the Conflagrator, of course. You say that 3 times fast. Who's got dual little flamers. You've got the 2 missionaries. One's got a plasma gun. One looks like a big dog flamer. So might be a bit longer range there, or a heavy flamer. Then this is one I find interesting. Now, did you see the Death Cult Assassin model?
Yeah. Not the Death Cult Executioner, the Death Cult Assassin. So we have both Death Cult Executioners from the Elucidian Starstriders and now a Death Cult Assassin. Dun, dun, dun. It looked cool. It kind of looked like the, not the Colexus. Yeah, the Colexus model that's kind of running, isn't it?
There's a little bit of that. Yeah. He's like...
But obviously,
and he's got the body suit on with the leather boots and the hood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's. I maybe I'm being picky. It doesn't. Maybe it would have liked it doing something a little bit more dynamic. He does kind of just seem to be like, or appear to either be sneaking a bit more, or like fully like mid strike, like
like poised to go. I do like a mid-strike. Like the classic, the one where he's like he's leaning back with a dagger like that, and he's lumping.
That's it.
Because he's just kind of doing this, and it kind of makes you feel like, based on the pose, he's not going to be sneaky. Based on the pose, he's just going to be quite fighty. Whereas you assume, because of the name Death Cult Assassin, he should be charged from conceal. He should be like, if you strike first, you know what I mean, like some kind of funky looking, because it's weird, because I think maybe they just fall in the habit of this guy could just be a melee specialist, but quite a lot of people in this team look like they could be the melee specialist. Like the Persecutor's got that double, kind of looks like do you remember the model from Blackstone, with the flame on
Pius Vaughn. Is it the Pius Vaughn? Is that?
Yeah, I think it's Pius Vaughn. Yeah. It's quite a similar pose. It's basically big chainsword with a flamer attached to it as well. So that's quite a cool one. I quite like that model, but that's again looks like
Norley 2's just said he's a blooded Flenser in a gimp suit, and I agree. That's what
it
feels like. It looks like
that's what he is.
The Flenser just been reskinned. Again, there's nothing wrong with the Flenser model, but that guy, he's a bit more like, I'm just a sicko with knives. But this guy, I know, I don't know how you convey sneakiness, but I'm like, there's something about, like, when you look at the Imperial current range of assassin models, they all kind of speak to what they're doing, like the Vindicare's leaning against his little pole and shooting around it. The Eversaw's like wall running, like, they're all kind of doing something that leans into that. I just feel like he just seems a bit too, I'm just hanging out, guys. I'm just having a good time.
Does the Cherub have a goatee?
Wait, what? Oh.
Am I looking at this right?
I think that's something on its neck. It's got
very
like a
much
collar
looks
thing.
like it's got a goatie.
But now it's got it looks like it's
hair as well.
It does, yeah. It's got like 90s rocker.
Yeah, it looks like
he plays in the band now.
Yeah, he basically looks like Wayne Static from Static X. You know what I mean? Like, and the beard, like, not a great look.
Right now, I'm not going to be able to unsee that. If that
cold,
no other model ruined.
But yeah, Interesting look.
Holy shit. Oh, jeez. A guy for E. There you go. Jim the Sheep. There you go.
Guy for it.
The Drill Abbot's another interesting one. He's equal parts intimidating / full of like interesting bits and pieces. Quite a cool model. I actually really like this one.
You know what I like about the models is that this looks like a real painter's dream. So I like a team that like sometimes, and it's our own fault because we want cool looking minis, but it means the minis get very busy and there's a lot of stuff on them, which means they're hard to paint quickly. And you kind of want a nice mix between easy to paint, will take paint well, but able to get it like looking good. And I kind of like that they're stripped back just in robes, but lots of options to do fun stuff. Like obviously they've got loads of really cool like freehand writing on the big sections of robes, and the Salvationist with all those like the parchment coming down the front, that's just holding a box. Like it's a weird model, but it looks like it's going to be a real fun team to paint, but quite simple. Like I feel like you could probably get the team done with contrast quite easily and just kind of like bash them out and be like 2-tone on the robes, skin tone, wood, parchment.
Bit of a dry brush of grit, you know, like you can just dirty them up a bit. And I think there's room for both if you really want to take that time and get real intricate with the details, or if you just want to be like, nah, they're just, you know, grim, dark, dirty style kind of models.
I mean, that Confessor model, you could lavish that boy up with loads of stuff.
It's Gin of the Sheep just said, funny that last week's episode was about kit bashing, then this box turns up, which is a kit basher's wet dream. That's very true.
You know what? I'm just looking at that Impaler from the Goremongers team. The more I look at that, the more I think it's got to be a get over here. Like that is so worldy, isn't it? To be like,
right,
and then just put it in reverse gear and like ratchet it in
like a giant angler fisherman just reeling them in.
God, that would be cool. Because it does. Oh, you know what? It's got a chain. It's got the.
It does have the reel in thing.
Like it's got a reel in chain below it. Like the clip is like where the chain is.
There you go. Yeah.
This is looking. Oh, that might be. Oh yeah. Because there's no falling damage. Because I was thinking how cool. Because the Necromunda, you could like shoot someone and they might fall and take damage. But if you harpooned them, but I guess they could add in. They could be like. If you
special rule,
if they drop every 2 inches, they suffer 2 mortal wounds. I mean, I'm just making shit, but you know what I mean. Like that would be, they could add stuff like that in, couldn't they? I guess the idea is
that would add that idea of like taking a bit of the like another way to take away a bit of safety from vantage points. I don't mind that. Like if you're on a vantage point, that guy can always target you and be like yoinking snipers off the second floor of Volcus and stuff like that. That'd be very cool.
Yeah, okay, you know, looking at this team more, it does look pretty cool because you've got like the classic. Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like it definitely looks like its own kit. You know what the problem is, and I think the problem is more with how they've built the models. Is I think they've used quite a similar looking helmet style for quite a lot of them.
Yes,
but I'm sure the kit will probably have different ones. Like the Jackal kit had different ones, whereas this one's very specifically got like the half skull. And I'm not a massive. Yeah, it's basically 4 models that basically got the same helmet, and then there's 2 more. Yeah, I'm sure there'd be different ways.
Yeah, for a team that is 8 models and clearly, you know, like 6 of them, including the leader, being specialists. For some reason, looking at it, they nearly seem too cohesive. Maybe that's a little bit of it. They nearly seem like they all work, you know. Whereas then, especially comparatively, when you look at the Sanctifier team, it's soup. Everyone is.
They're all
very
individuals.
Unique. Everyone's got so much character. I like so obviously we touched on the Persecutor, who's obviously got the giant chainsaw flamer combo, which is the most. That to me, you know, like I know the chainsword is like everyone's like that's 40k. To me, a chainsword with a flamer attached is even more 40k. Like that's like it? That's what takes it like to the next level, is that you go, oh, and also it sets things on fire at the same time.
So once you're chainsawing it up, you can also blast flames at the same time. Like that's 40k. Like the needlessness.
So cool.
I want to melt
you got the
gun
the Salvationist, who's looks very similar to the
missionary.
What was the
Mystic?
No, Mystic. That's it. The
Yeah.
Mystic. Yeah, he's got the magic. What's in the box and lots of various bric-a-brac. And then the Reliquant, who's also got a hand flamer and a nice collection of treasures. And I think this is the most Reliquaries. I think the most interesting model, as in one I'm most excited about what the rules will be for, is the Miraculous.
Looks like the Mind Witch. Like it does feel like the opposite cult, because it's even got the same pose. It seems so. You've got to assume, like the Mind Witch, something psychic, right?
Yes, and
based on the model, you've got to be like something psychic.
Is it going to be like? Is that actually your beat stick of your army? Like it's just
that'd be cool.
A person in robes, but it's like no, that's like like that's like it looks like a demon host, really. Like if you think of like models,
heresy, brother.
Right? I'm just saying, just between you and me, just because you slap an Inquisition symbol on it or an Ecclesiarchy symbol on it, I'm like.
I mean, yeah, it's got like stuff going through the hands and
stigmata and the eyes.
Do you know what would be cool? If like it's a model like this, and if it like as long as it's within 6 inches of another one of your models, it's fine. But as soon as it's outside of 6 inches, you just replace it with a Chaos Spawn. He's like, bang, Chaos Spawn, buddy.
Yes, it's like your best
unhinged.
model, and everyone's just trying to shoot all the characters away from it. Don't bother shooting it. Kill everyone around it, because then it just turns into a spawn and kills every. Yeah, I love it. That would be very, very cool.
Something like that.
But one thing I'll definitely say that's because a few people obviously mentioned Kit Basher's Delight. Probably the only thing it'd be interesting to see in this kit how many alternatives, if any, you get for different bits and pieces, or if it's very much a one build. Like one, you get this, that's the way it's built.
Yeah, it's an odd kit. I know what you mean. Like amazing team, because you can have so like. If you wanted to build this team, you've got all the options in the world and all the minis in the world. Yeah. But if you buy this team, these models, I think you're locked in. I don't think there's going to be many different ways you can build these. I think they're going to be basically everyone's Reliquant looks like this. Everyone's Miraculous.
Yeah.
Unless you are like, because there's different teams where you can slightly change them around. Not much. Because that's the new way it is. It's a lot less, because they want to do quote unquote the more dynamic poses, so you are kind of locked in. But I think you will pretty much be, like. But the cool thing is, you can make a dude with a big hammer holding a box with a skull, and you can make him look however you want. And because these guys look almost timeless in that you could use the Cities of Sigmar stuff so easily.
Yes.
Just find a dude with his mouth open slackly and just throw him into the team, and that's basically going to fit. But yeah, I know what you mean. Some of those models, like the missionaries, are going to be that's what they're going to look like, I think.
Yeah, and because I think you were saying in the green room, that's one thing we were talking about. It was like, the Cities of Sigmar AOS stuff like would be so interchangeable with a lot of this kits. Like they've got like is it the Free Guild Commanders?
Yeah, that kit's great.
It's got like the 5 characters or whatever. If you grab that and this, I'm sure you could there'd be some easy swap in and outs that would really add a lot, or at least just differentiate it. Because I don't think it's necessarily saying it's a bad thing, because I think it means if you get this box and you build it it's going to look cool. It's going to look dynamic. It's going to look great. But if you want it to be your own, you're going to have to. You're probably not going to be able to rely on the kit. You're going to have to add things to it to find that uniqueness.
But I think it's one of those kits where I think you get this kit, and then you're like, when you're playing it, when you find the model that you like, you're like, oh, I really like this. Like for me, I love the Shade Strain, the Vespid, the stealth suit. Love that dude. Yeah. So he's for my orc team. He's the orc that's dressed all in purple, and I've given him red eyes, and he's gone crazy because obviously he's a stealth one. But like like you could get this kit and then be like, you know what? I really love the conflagrator. Why did I pick the one that was the most difficult to say? I really love the Death Cult Assassin. So many better ones. I love the Death Cult Assassin. So you decide to just kit bash that one model to be like different, and then add them in and just be like, oh, I've decided to kiss back the drill abbot. It'd be a cool project to have. Get them all painted, get them all done, and then individually just build one model a month or something and just be like, that's going to be my project to build the most amazing Death Cult assassin for my team.
Yeah, because the drill abbot too is so perfect for like I think of like AOS stuff. There's so many Sigmar priests that's basically they've got the hammer. They've got that. They're usually a bit stocky and chonky and ready for battle. I'm like, there'd be some great options for bits and pieces to swap in and out there for sure.
You could easily go. You could easily get like a box of obviously Cawdor or like.
Yep.
I mean, it's basically this team, but like any Necromunda, they're like cult team for all the weapons, and then just go, get some Age of Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar stuff, and then you could easily build yourself up this team, and it would be very interesting. And unlike
it's interesting too. It seems to be like with this box set, obviously from what we can see from the article, two very close combat or close to the enemy teams. Everything's going to be working within that 6 inches. But then they both appear to want to do it in very different ways. Obviously, the traditional Chaos Cult guys, if there's only 8 of them, you reckon they're going to have quite a few wounds. They're obviously going to be... I mean, obviously, they've got no shirts on, but obviously they're going to have like a demon save or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Because 8 models with no shirts on, if there was something only got 5 or 6 plus saves, as we've seen, that's in Kill Team, that's rough. Like, that can be... You've usually got to have some kind of mechanic or something to keep them alive longer.
They do kind of remind me of, with those weird legs, the weird turkey legs, they kind of remind me like maybe like an odd Void Scarred, like Void Dancer, not Void Scarred. Void Dancer's like maybe they could have some, like, I can see what you mean, like maybe they go like a bit demon and there's like a strat ploy to be like invuln saves or something like that for like a turn. To survive until you can get to combat.
Piercing or
no one gets ignore piercing anymore. Reese, sit down, and if you are sitting, lie down. No one takes away the Vespid's only thing, but something, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they'll have, because a team like this. To be fair, as you said, both teams, they both look quite melee heavy. I mean, I know they've got the missionaries that seem to have long range guns, flamers, and that, like, at least that looks like one of the missionaries has a plasma gun. So I assume there's some long range, but the majority, as you say, is either pistols, flaming pistols, which is going to be maybe 6 or 8 inches. So they're going to want to hit, presumably going to want to hit combat as well.
And, if these are the team, that are looking at potentially being the inquisitorial agent replacement, and obviously we know with them, they've got the tome skull. So we're talking like things that have auras that plus up or minus attacks. Like, it'd be interesting to see if that's something that transfers across to these guys now. If I think it does mention something about lots of like that they work together to, like the drill and the decker, so cranks their fervor even higher. So they obviously pump each other up in different ways. Like, even hearing that saying about the Death Cult assassin being able to get people to fight better is very interesting. So I wonder, zealous missionaries lack in armor. They make up for raw grit, fighting through injuries that would fell an Ogren with prayers on their lips and booming sermons in their ears. So that's it kind of gives you a little bit of a hint into what their play style might be. Is it going to be a bit like, is there going to be a miracle dice aspect that we've seen with some like Sisters of the Battle stuff in the novitiates? Yeah.
I think,
which, mind you, I don't want them to go that way. I'm not a huge fan of anything that's just like
instant dice,
an auto dice. I'm always a little hesitant around that stuff because I'm like, it's a dice game at the end, fundamentally.
I tell you what I like about this box more than the other ones we've seen, is there's the Blood and Zeal cards that they've kind of hinted, like draw a card in game to get a sudden, just reading it from the thing, get a sudden stroke of good fortune as the divine cast their gaze over your battlefield and bequeath the faithful with powerful abilities. Yeah, like I had a mate who was saying that. He was just saying like it's like chance cards, like just random. Change the game. Yeah, pick up a community chest. Turns out it's a melter grenade. Like,
you won 3rd in a beauty contest.
I like it's an interesting way. It does feel like I'd like to see it get more of a foothold, because I see when them do things like this, like the new terrain that came in the brutal and cunning, it doesn't really get a fair shout, because it's not included in competitive play, so it doesn't seem to get a much coverage, at least. But I played a game and it was so much fun, so I'm really looking forward to seeing, like, because I know we talk about, like, we very much started as casuals, and then as it happened, we became less casual, and started playing tournaments, and became.
You and Ben got good at the game.
We got distinctly uncasual. But I've been playing some games now that have been a lot more casual, just a bit more like fun.
Yeah.
And they are obviously fun. They're much more fun.
Yeah.
I like them. I'm really looking forward to these little community chest cards that are just like, boom, chaos. Chaos has come. I like that idea.
I'm a big fan of, like, when we're playing 40k, and obviously, like, I love how you can do the tactical missions. Like, so it's like, you know, you can choose with you start the game, you go, I'm going to go fixed when you're playing, you know, ultra competitive, and you're going to go fixed, and you're going to go, this is the other way my team scores at secondaries, blah, blah, blah. And you might go, you've got lots of tanks, so I'm going to go bring it down. But I love the fact that the main way most people play, especially casually, is that the cards at each turn, you know, you're drawing these new objectives each turn that really change how you have to play. And, like, it can be super fortuitous, super annoying. Like, but I think that's, like, having that, a bit what you're saying there, like that element of randomness to the battle that makes you go, oh, I can't just do the same thing each time, because I don't know what I'm going to draw. I can't go, oh, I've held everyone back because I've got to wait till turn 3 to charge forward to get X. You might get that turn 1. You might get it turn 3. You don't know. Like, I think that's probably the one thing that's in Kill Team's mission to be a super strong competitive game, which it is.
Yeah.
I still would like a little bit more of that turn the game on its head. And I get it can't be completely game breaking, because otherwise you're working so hard to make a balanced game and then you're ruining it.
Yeah.
But just something, you know, or you can get, if you could do this in this turn, you get one extra VP, and it's the only way you can score that VP is this card, you know, and you don't know what and you might get it and it might be useless to you, or you might get super lucky. Like, I don't mind a bit of that.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's a difficult balancing act they've got, because arguably they could just do nothing and just release the two teams, and the same amount of people would probably buy it. But they're spending more time to say there's another way you can enjoy the game. You can enjoy it a little bit more casually. You don't, like, they're not they obviously are encouraging the sweaty games that you have at tournaments, and they're good for their own sake. But, like, sometimes you don't want a sweaty game in your local hobby shop when the point is literally just fun. There's no points. It's not. I'm not here to win a tournament and crush my foes. It'd just be cool to have fun. I like that they're putting stuff out there for that. Like I said, the terrain rules in the Brutal and Cunning was one of the things I think was real fun, because it adds, like, like defense missions and stuff like that. You can blow up walls, storm an objective, and this sounds really interesting that they're throwing more resources into this narrative kind of play, or casual. I don't want to call it narrative. I just want to more call it casual, because you can still be a competitive game, but there's narrative elements now that swing a game more than would be allowed in competitive play. Would be allowed, you know.
It's nearly like narrative light, because you kind of, it sounds ridiculous, but there is, I guess, narrative, and then there's ultra narrative, you know, that those that take the narrative even more seriously, and that is its own form of storytelling in a very rigid way in the end to play the game. That it's like, we're playing the game and it has to tell this story, and you have to remember that this character's upgraded, and you have to track this, and blah, blah, blah. For some people, that can be just as daunting as
there's a lot of bookkeeping,
because bookkeeping. So it's like, if you can add a super easy way to add a bit of character and a bit of memorability and storytelling in a game without having to push it to either of the extremes, I think that's great.
100%. As you're saying it, I agree, because I want that narrative experience, but I don't want to be like having to be like, oh, right, okay, so this guy got 3 kills, so he's up 4 XP. He's got the Sanctifier rounds that he found based on that, so he's 3-4 damage, and it's just like, Like just being like, okay, we're gonna add some crazy stuff into this game. Pull a chance card, and like you can't pull a chance card. Pull a Blood and Zeal card. This character's been gifted.
Chance.
Yeah, chance. You got give me this character is in the gaze of the gods for this turn, so he gets X, and it just adds a bit of chaos and a bit of narrative element that you're like, okay, play that way. I like that. I like that as a quick way of adding it in without having to have like an entire like campaign, and you can still do that. The thing is, there's people like Once Upon a Kill Team who are always going to find a way to add narrative, so you don't need it. But for those who are having trouble being like, I don't want to have a competitive game, I don't want to have a long drawn out narrative, I just want to have a fun narrative single, like one shot equivalent of a game. I like that. I like that as a way that they're doing it. I think it's great that they're still innovating with it, because they could just rest on their laurels. They could just be like,
yes,
here's some something.
I said, yeah, I that's genuinely, 40k, that's my favorite way to play is those decks. Like, because I love that even Kill Team now, you've got your little card deck and you go, here's the terrain setup, here's the mission, and I love how you can just step through, and because you can randomize that if you so choose, you can make each game feel unique, and then all of a sudden, but then you just add in that thing, and there's the card deck, and each turn we draw something, and in that turn it might be, heavy rain, no change this battlefield. Like, they can even have ones where nothing happens. You don't know till you draw the card. Like, I love that. The tension.
Yeah.
Tipping a game from being a win, or like giving that little element of unexpected, I think is really, really nice. But yeah, I think it's good. I think I continue to be very happy with the direction that this Kill Team season has gone. The new edition, I think it's been, the first 3 box sets have all added a lot. They've added exciting new teams. They've added interesting teams, new models, which I think is fantastic. That's what we want to keep seeing, new and exciting teams. So keep powering on. And now we get to start. Now we can already get over these 2 teams. Who cares about their actual rules? Now let's start guessing what the next one's going to be.
The next team.
Because I'm mad at Belrak because he was saying he was calling Grey Knights, and that got me all excited for Grey Knights. I still thought it was very unlikely.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think the timing lined up with what GW was doing big picture. But geez, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Tyranids still very up on the list.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to find a way. Tyranids. I don't want another... Well, they don't need to do it because they've got Brood Brothers now. They'll take over from Wormblade.
Yes.
Wormblade
Yeah,
goes.
they've already got their...
Yeah.
Maybe that's how we need to look at it. We need to not go who doesn't have a team. We need to go which of the teams that are getting phased out next and who steps into their boots. That's maybe that's what's on the writings on the wall with now.
Yeah, because I feel like we've got Guard because Kazakin will still be around for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And we've got Inquisition still. It's going to be weird because we'll have Inquisition and this Sanctifier team at the same time. And Cults.
Yeah, because they said that they were season 2, weren't they? They considered season 2.
So there'll be a bunch. So Novitiates will go, which I feel like is sort of where the Sanctifiers are kind of filling that void because they're very faith-based and they've got Flamers, which if you said faith-based and Flamers, you're either thinking this new Sanctifier or Novitiates. So it kind of fills their role.
I feel like it's a very easy proxy too.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It wouldn't take much to be able to proxy up and go, look, I'm running the new team. But yeah,
you got that
a lot of...
Yeah, the Redemptors or whatever with the Eviscerators anyway. There's quite a lot with... I think they almost... To be fair, I think you hit a nail on the head. There's probably a very good proxy in that team. Yeah. Yeah. You could probably run Novitiates and just be like, it's a new team. You'd probably be fine with that.
So there you go. You're welcome, Novitiates players.
Yeah.
You've got new rules without even having to swap your models. So there you go. You don't even need this box set.
A couple of hand swaps and you're good, basically. Find a kit with hand flamers, and I think you're good.
Yeah.
Because you've got the standard bearer, and I think she's got a pistol, but you know what? Bang, that's a flamer. Pistol.
Hand flamer.
Yeah.
Just give her a Gene Stealer Colt hand flamer handle. Yeah. Fine. No one will look that close.
Heresy. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't even realize how close that team probably is.
Yeah, no, I was only
the Death Cult Assassin is the
talking
duelist.
about it before.
Yeah. Yep. You've got quite a lot of options.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's It would be. I think it would be an easy sell.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's wrap it up there for today. We got obviously Ben will be back next week. We had the Magnolia Open over the last weekend, so Ben's going to be back to take us through that because it sounds like that was very interesting. Some cool results that we want to definitely know all about. So I'm very excited to hear a bit more about that, but we'll save it for Ben. So because he was our man on the ground, he was there
on
live.
The ground. It was a big Florida event. I think it was 40 people, which is quite big. So it might have been the biggest non-G Dubs kill team event in Florida. So I'm not sure if they got a golden ticket or not. I'm not sure what the event was, but there is a winner, and we will quiz Ben all about this.
Well, yeah, Ben will have all the details. I'm trying to see if did he say it was golden ticket? I can't even remember. He was messaging us about it just the other day. We do talk to him weirdly.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a golden ticket.
I think it was.
Because I think there was lots of West Coast people came over, and that generally means it's a golden ticket.
Trying to steal that ticket.
Take it out of Florida.
Hostile takeover.
Take it out. Steal it. They're trying to steal the ticket from Florida. But yeah.
West Coast Steelers. I love it. Well, great. So I'm excited. Hopefully, over the next week too, we get a little bit more detail. Hopefully next week too, we might have some rules. Maybe this will be more Warcom articles to go over to give us fill in some of the gaps of what we're hypothesizing around Blood and Zeal. But I'm very excited. I'm very, very hopeful. I think this release shows that they continue to be trying some new and interesting things. I did not have either of these teams on my list of potential teams. They definitely wrong-footed me. I don't think I guessed crazy robo-leg corn cultists or ecclesiarchy. I didn't. I said we were way off. We had catachans and tyranids and grey knights.
Just what we wanted. Just what we wanted, basically. Yeah. Demons. Please. I guess we've almost got demons.
If you paint them red, they're bloodletters.
Just basically, yeah, bloodletters. Yeah, no. Exciting.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much, as always, to everyone who's joined us in the chat. Lapscayan, Gin of the Sheep, we've got Norley, Cheesy Chimps, a lot of our favourites in there. Karakan, thank you so much. You guys make it nice and fun. Thank you for joining us on YouTube as well. Your mum, XD, was in there. DSP519, Chase, yeah, your mum was in there. Wow. I mean, that's their name. Thank you for joining us on YouTube as well. We are now simul streaming on both. So if Twitch is not for you, but YouTube is easier for you to get to and you want to join us live, you go to Casual Wargamers on YouTube and we are on there live as well. So just another way you can help join in the fun live because we love it. Thank you, of course, as always, to the wonderful Russ from GFN Gaming, the masterful button pusher for today.
Please, this is probably why it's gone terribly. Thank you very much for turning up and pulling out the stops with the old reveals. Reese there, buddy. Pleasure.
It was,
as always.
It was good to have fun stuff to talk about. It was good. It was good. I was getting a bit anxious.
I know. It's been a while since there'd been like the data slate, and then it was like, well, is there anything coming? And then it was like, boom. They kept it under wraps. I like it. And then they were just like,
I feel better.
Yeah. I feel
better now.
I feel like we had pictures last time beforehand. Like, I feel like we knew it was the Wreckers coming, and then we got, like, the reveal.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I swear it was a bit more of a tease lead in that they started. I remember they were doing, like, there was the articles and stuff like that, like the thing about, and it mentioned rattlings and wreckers and stuff like that. It was like the story little thing and all that. And there was a few like hints and teasers.
Yeah, it feels like there were.
You bang a bang in your face.
There was nothing about like the robot chicken leg dudes. Like you say, there was like no idea. No idea that was coming.
Just keeps us guessing.
I love it.
Keeps us guessing.
I love it. Well, thanks very much, Reese. Thanks very much, chat. 07's in the chat. Thanks for joining us on this simultaneous stream across Twitch and YouTube land. Yeah. I'm sorry, I've just got distracted looking at both the streams. They are still going. It has worked. Who'd have thought?
Well, I'm watching us live.
I'm watching it. It's weird because I'm not doing anything. It's crazy. Who would watch this?
Weird, right?
But yeah.
Weird. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thanks for joining
I've got to end it, haven't I? That's why you're kicking me. This is why I've got these messages.
Right under the
what are you
table
doing?
and across the sea.
Dude, okay. Stopping it.